Every week seems like years in the world of AI, and this week might be the craziest week so far. A new Chinese competitor is threatening to dethrone ChatGPT with amazing performance that's better than their O1 model at 90% cheaper. There's also been huge developments in the world of AI video, and ChatGPT has also launched their own version of AI agents. You're not gonna wanna miss this. Let's jump right into the video. So the first one we're gonna go over here is the release of DeepSeek R1, which is the Chinese competitor to OpenAI that is 100% open source. So I just dropped this on X, and if you don't follow me there, I highly recommend you do, at Gadala on X. I drop all this latest info right when it comes out. So if you don't wanna miss it, you don't wanna wait for the video to come out on YouTube, definitely follow me here on X. So this is the best open source AI model of 2025, and it got released in China. It's on par with O1, which is ChatGPT's best model, and it's 90% cheaper. It's actually like 93 or 95% cheaper, so it's insanely cheap. So here's everything you need to know. So let's jump right in. So some of the benchmarks are absolutely wild. So you can see that it's actually beating in accuracy every major model that's out right now. Gemini, Sonnet, Grok, even O1, which is ChatGPT's like best model. It's beating them all. So in calibration error, it's not quite the same, but in accuracy, it is massive, right? And we looked over a bunch of these in the other video I created on this. So I made a whole video on this as well. So go check that out on my channel if you want to see the whole breakdown on R1 and why this is such a big deal. But essentially also, this is 3% of the price. So it's 97% cheaper, actually, not 90%, 97% cheaper. You can see just how cheap these tokens are, 0.55. So insanely cheap per 1 million tokens. O1 is $15 or up to $60. This is 55 cents on average. You can see some of these other cheaper AIs, but when you have the performance of O1, right? So this is as good as O1, and in some cases better than O1 at 97% the cost. This is a big, big deal, and people are not gonna spend the money. They don't care where this comes from, whether it's China or Europe or wherever it comes from, or the US, they're gonna go with the best, cheapest model out there. So this is a very, very big deal. Now, the other crazy thing about this, and I talked about this in the other video, is that this was actually trained for $5 million. So if you think about the billions that are being thrown around in the AI world, and the fact that they trained this model with only $5 million and about $50 million of NVIDIA GPUs, that is a big, big, big deal. And it shows that the moat for AI right now is not as big as it seems. Everybody thought that ChatGPT was way ahead and no one was gonna catch up to them. And then we saw Google catching up and Meta releasing their open source model. But right now, this model just came out of China. It's 100% open source, and it is very, very good. The problem is also there is a lot of censorship. So we do see that, you know, it's blocking any negative stuff about the Chinese government. We can expect this for stuff coming out of China. We can also see that people are running this locally. So because it's open source, you can run this locally. So he stacks a bunch of these Mac computers and he's running this locally. Some people are actually running it on their cell phones as well, which is pretty interesting. So they made it like a smaller model. So pretty incredible stuff. And the model does great things too. So like you can see this Pythagorean theorem, how well it produces this. So it gives you an example of how it works, which is really, really cool. This is done in like JavaScript. And the people at Meta are absolutely freaking out. They've spent billions of dollars to create Llama, which is their open source model, which is really, really good too. But this basically just blew it out of the water. So DeepSeek absolutely blew it out of the water. And people on Twitter are going nuts. I mean, people like from Mark Andreessen to some of the biggest names in the AI world are absolutely going nuts, considering that R1 has been such a huge advancement and it's totally open source. So this is definitely the biggest news that came out this week by far. The next biggest news is on the AI agents. So I just made a video on this as well. It's called Operator. So ChatGPT has released their own version of AI agents. You can essentially go in and do a ton of work for you. So you can have it go browse the internet. So you can have it do a task, ask it to do a task for you, and it'll go and browse the internet and do that task for you. So it's like having an assistant or having your own VA with AI, which is really, really cool. So it'll go out and do a task for you, log that task, and use browsers to do it, which is a really, really big deal. So, you know, people have been wanting an AI agent to come out of OpenAI, come out of ChatGPT for a long time now, and they finally released it. So I thought that was absolutely massive, massive news. So another huge thing to come out. So, you know, obviously Trump got inaugurated this last week. So he's now in power. He's the president of the United States. And one of the big things he basically was doing was trying to promote AI and crypto to become the big things in the US, right? So he wants to make the US the powerhouse of AI and crypto. So obviously, I don't know if he saw what's coming out of China and this started to worry him. And he said, hey, we need a lot of money coming into the US to compete with people like DeepSeek who are, you know, overseas that are making some great stuff. So they announced the Stargate project, which plans to invest $500 billion over the next 4 years for AI infrastructure for OpenAI in the United States. So what does AI infrastructure mean? That basically means GPUs. So what does that mean for NVIDIA, right? I think NVIDIA's stock price is just gonna keep potentially going up here, because if we're talking about $500 billion basically just for GPUs from NVIDIA to run these models and train these models, pretty big deal. So this is big news. So Elon came out and basically said they don't actually have the money, which I thought was hilarious. So Elon immediately, so he's got a big open feud with Sam Altman, the founder of OpenAI. So I'm not gonna get into that whole story now. I'll probably make a video on that in the future, but there's a ton of drama between Elon and OpenAI. And yeah, so he thinks they don't have the money. There's been a lot of people kind of, saying, do they have the money? Don't they have the money? But it seems they seem pretty confident to say they have this 500 billion to go into this investment project, and they're calling it Stargate. So pretty cool stuff. I'm excited for the future, a little scared to think, hopefully they keep some guardrails in place here, but obviously China has no guardrails and they're building whatever they want and doing it open source. So gonna be a crazy few years here with AI, and 2025 is proving to be probably the craziest year so far and will be the craziest year. So the other cool piece of news I saw come out was the new Canvas feature. So they've had this for a while now. So Claude Sonnet actually sort of developed this, where they have like this interactive, window on the right where it writes the code and then it shows you what it executed, which is really cool. Now, what's awesome is they had this for a while. ChatGPT did. They called it Canvas, but now it works with O1. So it's using their latest model, which is their best coding model by far, and it can now render HTML and React. So React being the #1 JavaScript framework out there right now. If you're a developer, this is a really big deal because it's going to write this code for you and it's going to deploy it directly in the browser so you can test it. Really, really cool stuff. So he builds a few example websites here. He builds this quiz.
Real quick, just
this quiz,
guessing it.
Chemistry quiz website. He then builds like a recipe thing. He builds a macro data refinement simulator. Pretty cool stuff here with this cool JavaScript effect. And yeah, this recipe blog. So you can see that this is going to be really useful for coders in the future. I might make a video on this in the future as well. If you want to see that, drop a comment. Let me know if you want to see me, explain to you guys and teach you how to actually use Canvas to code. That's a big part of what I do as well. So the last thing I wanted to show you is just how crazy the world of AI video is getting. So Pika 2.1 just launched, which is one of the latest video models to come out. And I think this is going to have a big effect on AI influencers. And I'll show you some more examples of that. So you can see that the quality of this model is really, really good. We've been seeing these AI video models just get better and better so fast. I mean, just incredibly fast, from Sora to Runway to VO, and Pika is now coming in to show that they've been doing some really cool stuff as well. So very impressive, very cool stuff. And yeah, AI video is going to be big, going to be very, very big. So if you're a content creator, if you're a creative person that wants to, produce what comes to your mind, you don't have the budget or, to go and pay actors and 3D models and stuff like that, this is going to be really, really big for you. And so VO2, which is Google's video model, also had some pretty big breakthroughs. So again, I think in the world of influencers, this is a big deal. There's going to be full AI influencers, right? They already exist on Instagram as static images, but they're going to come out with videos too. There's going to be full AI influencer YouTube channels, TikToks, Instagrams, X accounts. It's going to happen. They even have fake live streams here, AI live streams with people talking and, fake streaming games. So you're going to see this on Twitch in the future. This is going to be big. So, some more AI influencers here, a beauty vlog, pretty interesting, to see that, a tech vlog. This is obviously not even a real piece of tech, but pretty wild stuff. Travel vlog. This is pretty interesting. Yeah, wild stuff. Lifestyle vlogs, tutorials, lecture videos, fashion, even pet vlogs. So this is all moving really, really fast. So if you want to get started in this, if you want to get into the world of AI, this is your signal to do it, because it's only going to move faster and this is only going to get more saturated. So this is the time to start. If you like this video, give it a like, drop a comment on anything I presented today. I'd love to hear what you have to say. I always love to hear your opinions and thoughts on this whole insane world of AI, and definitely subscribe to the channel as well. I make tons of content like this. If this is your first time here, this is basically what I do 24/7 is think about AI, think about crypto, think about this world of tech. So if you're into that and you love this world as much as I do, or you just want to get informed, definitely subscribe to the channel to stay on top of this crazy, fast-moving world that we're in right now.